Hello VC, Michael, Clash City Rocker, with an experimental video of sorts based on a video I saw today. VC Social Club, where they were talking about how they organize their records. And I have a system, it might be a little bit over the top, but I want to share it with you. Unfortunately, I'm a one-man band here, and so I'm going to show you some of the collection without making anybody get too dizzy if I move the camera. But anyways, I organize my records by genre and then subgenre and then by major artists and then alphabetically and then chronologically. So before I get into that, I want to thank people who have commented on my other videos. Really enjoyed making these videos. Again, my goal is to connect with other members of the VC, start a conversation about records and about music. Thanks to those who have subscribed and liked. I'm going to continue to make these as long as I'm connecting. So the way I organize my records again is by genre. So what's behind me on this top shelf, and again, I got rid of my massive CD collection and then went strictly to vinyl. So there are some genres that are a little bit underrepresented than what they used to be, but this is my vinyl. So this top row here, beginning over here, is like R&B and soul, goes up to about here, and then hip hop, and then blues, and then some box sets. So R&B alphabetically here to here, including compilations. So beginning with the very first one in here, looks like Anita Baker, and then the last one in here is a bunch of compilations, but Bill Withers is probably the last one. And you can probably see my high-tech sticky notes that I have here. It's just an easy way to do it. And then from here, from Stevie Wonder all the way over to James Brown, are R&B soul records that I have more than 4. So that's the way I organize it. And then my Stevie Wonder, which I was just pulling these out, start with my first Stevie Wonder record I have, which is Music of My Mind, and then my last one that I have, which is Music Aquarium. So alphabetical by artist, chronological within each of those. So the system I have. Then this row is my guitar music. So starting here with classical guitar, then folk music, American primitive guitar, again, all alphabetical. So from here, what is that, Chet Atkins, through, I guess, some compilations in John Renbourn, and then some jazz, and then some prog, and then some Zappa, and then some of my box sets. And then below that one is my country. So again, organized by genres, subgenres. Now, what do I mean by a subgenre? So the country one, or even the guitar one's kind of, so guitar is this, but I have classical guitar, I have folk, I have American primitive, and then I have jazz guitar, and just jazz guitar. Same with the country. So starts with male country artists from Buck Owens to Dwight, to George Jones, Graham Parsons, Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, Louvin Brothers, Lyle Lovett, Merle, Waylon, and Willie. And then what I call old-time country, which is 50s, 60s, and 70s, 80s country. And then I get into some Americana stuff like John Hyatt, John Mellencamp, Townes Van Zandt. It's just some generic Americana, and then some 21st century. So this is my system. I think it works well. It might not work for everybody. And again, I have some of my box sets here. And then over here on this shelf, again, is more country. So we go start with Bobby Gentry, and then Carlene Carter. Sorry, I've disappeared in the frame. Dolly Parton, Emmylou Lou, Katie Lang, Loretta Lynn, Lucinda Williams. Patsy Cline, Roseanne Cash, Tammy Wynette, and then 20th century country, 21st century country, and then my 50s, etc. I think it's a good system. It works out okay. Try not to make anyone sick here. I mean, I follow a kind of a similar pattern with my music that I have on this other wall. So what I have here is 60s all the way into the 70s. And then all of that, however, is America on the top. So it's a little bit kind of funky, but you know, it makes sense to me. And again, they were talking about on the VC social channel that however you organize them, it's all so they're readily accessible. So if I want something, if I'm thinking of something, I can grab it in a second. And again, genre, subgenre, artist, chronological, alphabetical just seems to make sense to me. So America, 1960s, and then some bunch of nuggets, a bunch of Monterey Pop, just some kind of miscellaneous compilations. And then we start with like the Allman Brothers. Now you could quibble, they're more of a 70s band. And some of these kind of go into that. Like the band I have here in the 60s, they're more of a 70s band. Here's the Beach Boys, Buffalo Springfield, the Byrds, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Solo. Before that was Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. The Doors, Dylan, and then Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, Hendrix, Love, etc. And then below, which is somebody was talking about like how do you organize your Beatle records. And this one I'm just going to drop down just a little bit just to give you guys a sense of it. Hopefully nobody will get sick with this one. But here's my 60s England. So Beatles here, but this is Beatles America, or what I'm calling Beatles Original. And then I have a chunk of UK pressing of Beatle records. Then I have my mono box set of Beatles. Then I have all these new Beatle pressings they have. And then I go Paul, John, George, and Ringo. And then we start alphabetical again. Bee Gees, although one could argue that maybe they're an Australian band. I don't know. I have them in 60s England. Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Joe Cocker, Cream, Faces, Fleetwood Mac, and then the Kinks begin here and continue into here. And then Zeppelin, Pretty Things, The Who, etc. So, Michael Flaherty, Clash City Rocker, wanted to share with you my organizational system. Might not be the best one, but it's the one that I'm using right now. Look forward to hearing your comments and how you organize things. I guess Bananarama behind me. Cheers.